Hi everyone, welcome to Life After Mental Illness. I'm Bill MacPhee, your recovery expert. And what is recovery? Recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anyone else other than who you are today. Welcome to today's vlog. Today I'm talking about one of the positive symptoms of schizophrenia, known as insight. And let me just refresh you, positive symptoms are symptoms that are added to your personality that shouldn't be there. For example, if you're hearing voices, if you have delusions, if you're paranoid, if your senses are heightened, you have a sense of heightened senses in your hearing and your smell, your vision. Sometimes we see things in detail, sometimes we see refracting colors and different things like that. So they're sensory. But anyways, those positive symptoms are symptoms that are added to your personality that shouldn't be there. Now, before we are ill with an illness such as schizophrenia, our brain is not broken, and therefore we have no problem. But sometimes when we actually schizophrenia appears or comes upon us, or we have it, what happens is that it plays tricks on the mind, and we don't know that we have the illness. So that's why insight is almost a positive symptom. Or I should say lack of insight is a positive symptom, because before the illness it's not there, but after the illness it's there in some cases. Now, I mentioned in some cases you have lack of insight. So basically, you have people, for example, myself, I have insight into my illness. I know that if I don't take my medication, that in 6 months' time, my symptoms will come back and I'll relapse. How do I know that? Because I tried it in the past. I went back off my medication for 6 months, and the nature of the illness played tricks on my mind, played games with me, and I fell back into a psychosis and my delusions and everything like that. So I have insight. Bill, if you want to have a good quality of life and stay in reality, you have to take your medication. So that's basically insight. Other people may not have insight whatsoever. They may deny other people may be helping them, trying to help them, and they deny their illness. I know, and there's nothing wrong with me, exactly everything like that. Some people may have a lack of insight into their illness, but they're still being treated. They'll still take meds. They'll take their injection, or they'll take their oral meds, and then they'll just say, my mom and dad want me to take medication. I really don't think I need it. Why I'm taking it, but to appease them, I'll take it. So you have the three groups. You have people with insight, people with lack of insight, and then you have people who are stable, taking their medication, but really they don't know why they're taking their medication. So these are kind of things you have. Now, I want to talk a little bit about insight. Now, you say, for example, how does somebody not possibly know that they're mentally ill? So in my case, I was walking naked down the street. I was picked up by the police many times. I was hallucinating, had a lot of things happen to me. I was very paranoid. But I did not know I was ill. I thought circumstances, and it was some kind of grand design from God, and all these kind of delusions and everything like that. So I was very ill. And you say to yourself, well, how does somebody not know that they're not ill? How does somebody, when you're doing all this kind of strange behavior, or you're changed and everybody else can see it, why can't I see it? Why am I, why do I have lack of insight? Well, I'm going to just give you three analogies to that, and tell you about that. So first of all, the three analogies of the insight. For example, how many of you have been in a room or an area, and somebody next to you, been in a crowd or whatever, and somebody next to you has severe BO, body odor, right? They have body odor. They stink, basically. They stink. And everyone around them can smell it and can know that they stink, but yet that person who actually stinks can't smell it, don't think they stink. And you say, how could this person possibly not know that they stink? So that's what happens with lack of insight. The person with BO doesn't realize that they have BO. Very good. Okay, so somebody has to tell them, exactly like that. Another case, a lot of times with people who have strokes, and say are paralyzed on the one side, say their arm is down there and it's paralyzed. The doctor will say to them, okay, can you raise your right arm? and the doctor will be in front of them, they're watching, and the stroke victim will try to raise their right arm, but it doesn't go up, it doesn't raise. But the doctor will say, you didn't raise your arm. And the person will say, of course I raised it. Didn't you see it go up? In that situation, that person with the stroke who actually thought they raised their arm, they saw it going up, and they raised it, when in fact, in reality, it didn't go up, but in their mind, it went up, and that was sort of a lack of insight into their stroke. Now, another thing is that, say for example, we have many times there's cults in this world. We have different cults and different ideas and different philosophies, New Age movements, all this kind of things, and people get caught up in that. And you say to yourself, how can this person, run off and join the Hare Krishnas or whatever, or Scientology or whatever? Because they have lack of insight into the truth, and they're kind of brainwashed. And that's what lack of insight does. It kind of brainwashes us. Okay, so that's what lack of insight is, and it's a positive symptom. Not everybody has it. It's broken down to the 3 areas that I've mentioned to you. So then basically then after that. Now I just want to mention one other thing. Some of the things that we do with this illness, if we have lack of insight, we can talk to a person and we can explain it to them. But one thing that is for sure is that when we are in a psychosis, when we're out of reality, and we are speaking logical to people, logic doesn't work. That's why it's so frustrating to deal with people who are in a psychosis or who are out of reality, because logic doesn't work. And when we're sane, we can have a conversation and we can speak logically to each other, and it makes sense. We get out. But when we're outside of our comfort zone, we don't know how to handle not being logical, and we hear all these stories and everything like that. A great movie to watch is A Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe starred as John Nash in that movie. Ron Howard produced that movie, and there's scenes in there where John Nash has lack of insight. But then there's this one area that's kind of neat in the movie, where John Nash will admit, yes, I really believe I have a problem, because in my delusions, this girl that I was seeing that was part of my delusion never got bigger, never grew. The same girl was in his delusions all the time, and he said to himself, yeah, that's kind of weird, I've been known this girl for many years, and yet she never gets bigger. Part of that in that movie, A Beautiful Mind. Very good movie. I recommend you go and watch that. A Beautiful Mind. It gives you a lot of insight into the illness of schizophrenia. Okay, so that's going to be a wrap. I mentioned to you what that is. We're going to come back another time shortly and tell you about other positive symptoms like paranoia, delusions, hallucinations, hearing voices. We're going to go and take those in detail, just like we took insight into detail today. So remember, there is life after mental illness. Recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anyone else other than who you are today. And I'm Bill MacPhee, your recovery expert. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Hi. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on Facebook and Twitter.